Hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if this is your first time here, hi, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Elo and I'm a Nigerian mom living here in the Netherlands. And on this channel, I share everything about my life as an expat mom in the Netherlands, from travel to parenting and everything in between that concerns living here in the Netherlands. So thank you so much for stopping by. And make sure you stick around, okay? Make sure to hit the subscribe button, click on the little bell so that you are notified every time that I have a new video up. Leave a comment on this one, go watch my other videos, and just get to know me. It'll be lovely if you can join the community. That being said, let's move on to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest questions that most expats have, especially when they are planning to move to the Netherlands, and that is housing. This is something that is very important. Of course, you're not going to sleep on that bridge when you get here. And for most people, they are always concerned about how to go about it, whether to buy a home or to rent a home. Now, as someone who has been in your shoes, I'm here to give you some tips and some advice and just to make this journey easier for you, right? So you don't have to do it all by yourself. And so if that seems like something that you'll be interested in, then you know what to do. Catch me on the other side, okay? So, a little backstory for those of you that are new here. My family and I relocated to the Netherlands in 2023. Yes, my husband came here a couple of months before I and the kids came because it made more sense for him to come find us a place to live before we came. And house hunting here was not a joke. Before my husband came here, we were in Qatar and I'd already started looking at homes here in the Netherlands, started just doing my research on the best cities to live and, houses and all of that good stuff. And so we already kind of had an idea of the cities that we wanted to live in. And at that point, it made sense for us to rent because we were new to the country. We didn't really know how the cities were going to feel, if it would be a good fit for us. So we started off with renting. And our first apartment was in Rotterdam Central, and it was such an amazing location. We had the tram stop right in front of the house, the bus stop right in front of the house. The train, Rotterdam Central Station, was just like 2 minutes walk from our apartment. It wasn't the most kid-friendly place to live because it was right in the middle of the city, and Rotterdam is a very busy city, so we lived right in the middle of everything. But it made everything so much easier for us because it was easy to navigate. The stores were close by. Public transport was pretty much accessible. We found a school for my son because he was the only one of school age at the time that was right behind Rotterdam Central. So again, it was really close. It was like a 10-minute walk from home to school, which made so much sense and was so convenient for us. Everything really that we needed was like around the Rotterdam Central radius. The dentist was in our building. The doctor was like a tram ride away. And so it was the best fit for us as newbies in the Netherlands. And yeah, we lived there for like a year before we moved to another apartment, still in Rotterdam, but not in the centrum anymore. We moved to the north of Rotterdam. It was a more family friendly neighborhood, but then there was still ease of transportation. The tram stop was like a 5-minute walk from the house. And we had a metro station that wasn't too far away, so we still had ease of access, and that was a big consideration for us, and also something that I feel like you should be aware of, especially if you are moving to the country for the first time. You want to make sure that you have ease of access, like it's easy to get in, get out, go to where you need to be. You need to make sure that wherever it is that you will be renting, the transport system around that side is going to make your life easier and not difficult. Yeah. So after about a year or so, we started asking the big question, should we keep renting or should we start looking to buy? And so we did like a little list of pros and cons of renting or buying, and this was the list that we came up with. So the pros of renting was that it was easier to move around, especially if you're not sure where you want to settle. It's really easy for you to move from apartment to apartment, city to city. If you're renting, there's less paperwork and there's no property tax. Maintenance is usually handled by the landlord. I mean, the big things, the little things you have to do by yourself. And yeah, those are like the three major pros. And then the cons were that rent can be very, very high, especially in big cities like Amsterdam, Utrecht, Den Haag, even Rotterdam. Rent can be really, really high. And another con was that, you can't really make big changes to an apartment. So you can't exactly make it your own, especially for us that lived in furnished apartments. So it literally felt like you were house sitting for someone. You couldn't really put your personal touch on it. And the biggest con was that your money is not going into an investment. You're really just paying someone and you will not be getting returns on that money. And so those were like the pros and cons of renting for us when we thought about it and discussed it. And then the pros of buying is that, first of all, mortgage payments can be cheaper than rent depending on the city you're buying, the size of your home, and all the other factors. But sometimes your mortgage payments can be cheaper than rent, especially if you're living in like a bigger city. And the second pro is that you build equity over time. It's an investment, and you will get your money's worth as time goes by. And the third pro is that it's your home. You can personalize it. You can put your own personal touch on it. Basically create your own space. Now, the cons of buying is that the market is very, very competitive. Very, very competitive. The housing market in the Netherlands is so competitive, and houses sell really fast, and most times like several thousand euros above the asking price. So it is a huge competition to buy a house. The second con is that, of course, you need to have a resident permit, you need to have income stability, you need to have savings for like closing costs and all the other costs that come with buying a home here in the Netherlands. And that can, come up to a pretty penny. So if you're not financially stable, it's not an option for you. And I think the last con is that obviously, you're responsible for taxes and maintenance of your own home because you are the landlord. And so if something breaks, you're fixing it, you're paying for it. You will be paying all the taxes and everything that comes with owning a home in the Netherlands. And so those were the pros and cons that we came up with when we started considering buying a home here. So for us, after living here for about a year and a half, going to closer to 2 years, we felt like we were ready to invest in a home. And at that point, we had discussed and we had decided that we're going to stay here for the long haul. So it made sense for us to start looking into a home. And yeah, that was how the journey of homeownership began for us. And we worked with a mortgage advisor. They helped us to understand, what we could afford, and how the Dutch mortgage system works and what documents we needed because, we don't really know much about how the housing system works here in the Netherlands, especially if you're looking to buy a home. So working with a mortgage advisor made our lives so much easier. They explained everything to us. They helped us to, work on everything that we needed to provide. And I have a video talking about things that you need to know before buying a home here in the Netherlands. I'm going to link it in this video so you can always go back there to watch it. But I dropped some really helpful tips there. And yeah, that was how our journey began. And our process was pretty much, it wasn't long per se. I like to think that God's hand was involved in our journey because I had friends that had been looking for homes for months and months and had even gone like thousands of euros above asking price, made offers, and nothing came out of it. But for us, it was like a really short and sweet process. The minute we got pre-approved for mortgage and started looking, this was the second home that we looked at. and it was the only home that we ever made an offer for, and our offer was accepted. And so that's why I say God's hand is involved. Because the way I even found this home was just, it could only have been God. But yeah, that was how our own process went, which is not necessarily the norm, but hey, miracles do happen. So yeah, to wrap up this video, I think if you're moving to the Netherlands for the first time, if you're new here, my advice will be that you start out renting. It's the easy route, it's the easiest thing for you to do, because you're still new to the country. You don't really know what city you really connect with. You don't know which neighborhood you feel at home in. So renting is easy because, most contracts are like for a year, fixed term, 2 years, and you can always, move out within, that time frame. So it's easier for you to change your mind, move from neighborhood to neighborhood, move from city to city, get a feel of, different areas of the country, and then find the place that you feel at home at. And my second tip would be that, if possible, visit the neighborhoods that you have in mind to live before you go ahead and sign your rental agreement or buy a home. It's very important that you go visit, get a feel for the space or for the area before you commit to it, because once you have committed to it, you can't really break it, at least not for a period of time. And that's if you're renting. If you're buying, you're in for the long haul. So you need to really take your time to think about it. I think another tip will very, very important. Check, commute times, proximity to schools, amenities, transportation to big cities, or wherever you need to go. That is very, very important. You don't want to spend all your time on the road. So you want to make sure that wherever it is you're going to be living, there is transportation, is easily accessible. I mean, transportation in the Netherlands is fantastic, but you need to make sure that it's easily accessible to wherever you need to go. Consider the travel times to your office, to the doctors, to the schools, to all the city centers, all shopping, whatever you need to do. You need to really consider that, because it's going to make or break your experience here. So yeah. Another tip that I have, which would be my fourth tip now, yeah. If you're looking to rent or buy, please use reliable platforms like Fonda, Pararius. Those were the two websites that we used both for renting and for buying. Fonda and Pararius, you cannot go wrong with them. The listings there are legit. So please stick to reliable platforms like that. Try to avoid Facebook listings because sometimes they can be a bit. So yeah. And I think my last tip will be that you should talk to other expats, talk to locals that are your friends. Facebook groups are great, especially when you're just moving to a new country or a new city. I have joined several Facebook groups since we've moved to the Netherlands, and it has made my life so much easier. It's easy to get information from groups like that on Facebook, where other expats that are in your shoes, they have tips that will help you. So talk to other people. It's definitely not an easy process finding a home here in the Netherlands, but with patience, research, and a bit of the grace of God, I won't say luck, you will find that it's a place that, can feel like home. So yeah, I wish you all the best in your house hunting journey. And I hope that you find a space where you feel at home here in the Netherlands, just as I have. And that brings me to the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching if you're still here. And if you found this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. You can also share any other tips that you have that I didn't mention. If you're an expat or if you're a local, any tips that you have for someone that is just coming to the Netherlands and is trying to navigate the maze of housing here in the Netherlands. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Till then, bye.